Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, welcome everyone to season 2, episode 2 of Star Trek Valhalla, a Star Trek Adventures actual play run by myself and at least two of my friends. The rest are just here because I'm having trouble replacing them. But I digress. So with that being said, welcome everyone. Super excited. Super excited. It's been a long 2 weeks. It's been a long 2 weeks since we last aired. Last week, unfortunately, I did have some personal things I needed to take care of. They are now remedied, and I'm excited to get back to hopefully a regularly scheduled program, both with this as well as many other games that we are running on the channel. But enough out of me, this old hound dog. We're going to go around the table. We're going to have everyone introduce themselves, and then we're going to have a delightful opening log from one Lieutenant Paris that shall perhaps recap a bit of the last session and set the tone for this upcoming session as well. But we're going to go Brian, Sidereal Day, Charles Warren, Symbol, and Drew Baca. Have everyone introduce themselves, and then Lieutenant Paris will do his opening log. Take it away, Drew.
Hello, I am Brian. I am at Mind Over Brian on both Twitter and on Twitch, and now on Steam. Oh God, that may have been too much information. But I am playing our captain, Captain Asma Traso, the Betazoid captain who has forsaken his telepathic gifts.
Good evening. I'm Sidereal Day, and I portray Commander Ajay Shahira, the First Officer and Chief Medical Officer from Bajor.
Hello, I'm Charles. I play Ensign Zed, the Chief of Security and Operations Officer. My wife in real life has informed me that I can no longer say straight out of the academy since it's been a whole season.
God bless her. God bless her. It's wonderful.
I am Symbol. This is probably my last time playing Lieutenant Paris. It was very fun to be here. And yeah, I'm the science officer aboard the Ragnar, who probably will not be showing up this week. Who knows?
It's a real shame what happened to him.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Drew. I'm one of Charles's best friends, and I'm certainly not on his bad side for once. And I am playing Lieutenant Commander Krev Glosh, the Tellarite Chief Engineer of the Ragnar.
Of course, I am Dare Wolf, the Game Master. So we open, and yes, Paris, you're going to get your opening log. Just let me set the scene for that opening log, all right? Take a breath, breathe, do some calming exercises. You will get your opening log. But we open our scene with two mirrored images. If we were watching a televised program, we would see both the Ragnar traveling through a dense cloud of orange gash. We would know and recognize this as the Shackleton Expanse. Conversely, we see a small, recently replicated shuttlecraft that is in front of a very similar but slightly off the coloring of the hull, the name on that hull of this Intrepid class vessel. And instead of Ragnar reads Ragna. We have just watched this Ragna come out of a kind of shimmering cloak, very similar to what we've seen the Ragnar do. And aboard, as we zoom into that small shuttlecraft, we see Lieutenant Paris, Ensign Zed, and an additional officer. I can't remember the name of that Vulcan, but Captain Traso's Vulcan side character as well. It just skipped my mind. Forgive me. But, Lieutenant Paris, please now, at your leisure, take it away with your opening log, sir.
Personal log, Lieutenant Alden Paris, USS Crockett, stardate 401-688-65. After the events that brought us to here, the Ragnar made its way back out of the Shackleton Expanse to Starbase 123, only to discover the base and its occupants were not as well expected. In essence, the Ragnar is in an altered timeline in the past, and one in which the Dominion won the war and took over the Federation and Starfleet. My current theory to get us home is to recreate the event that actually set us here in the first place, but do it without Locke on the ship. His chronometric pull is probably what got us here in the first place, and the device in him is what probably kept him stable in our timeline. If we are able to create a stable white hole and collapse it into a black hole at the same location and going back into the black hole should, in theory, bring us back to our timeline. Fortunately, I can't compute the time jump factor, and there's a 50% chance we end up in the same time period. I have to find those last few variables to correlate. There's also that floating quirk. Locke also seems to be more himself, or the real himself. Doc had to pull him in stasis, as his presence seems to affect the ship, transforming it into like the version of this timeline, which now is in front of me, to get us, to help us, or to get more information, at least, while the Ragnar continues its evasive course in the Shackleton Expanse. Krev and I built a beautiful runabout thing that we christened, or he christened, the Crockett. It's possible thanks to the surplus of energy our new friend provides. There are rumors running around the ship that Krev has been baby talking to it. Like, I've tried to bribe Chief Brunson to like getting a holo recording for posterity. She still hasn't responded. Maybe Lieutenant Trey would be more willing. At least I need to find someone less scared. In other news, Ensign Zed, Lieutenant Flesh, and myself are in this recon mission to find that subspace relay. To get information from the timeline, understand what's going on, yada yada yada. Of course, as I said, unfortunately, we at the relay we were surprised by another Ragnar, or should I say Ragnar, as it was lying in wait for us. Been able to scramble our visuals so that they don't see us, and then we see them. And I think the most shocked about that situation would be Ensign Zed, as we come face to face with Captain Zed. Anyway, more false telemetry is gonna get us, what we need. But I'm really flying on this in my path here. So, anyways, did I say I love my job lately? Because this is just like next level awesomeness. Wait. No. Add send accommodation for Vles to the captain for demonstrating good proactivity with his concerns and thoughts of the current situation. He brought good information, good perspective, and was not afraid to voice them. Yeah, that's good. And recording.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done. You know what? I'm glad that Lieutenant Paris loves his job, because, it'll be the last job he ever has. But I digress. But as we open away from the recording that we were listening to of Lieutenant Paris's opening log, we cut to an exterior shot of the Ragnar, once again traveling through the dense, foggy orange cloud that is the Shackleton. We see it traveling at moderate warp through this field and heading towards the last known location of one Kronos station. And as we zoom down into the Ragnar proper, we see the captain, we see the first officer, we see several crew members at the bridge, or on the bridge as it were. And I'm curious, and I really just want to ask the group, what is the mood? What is the feeling? How does everyone look in this moment? What is everyone's, I guess, perspective? What is everyone's expressions? What are they working on as we zoom into that bridge?
The captain is making friendship overtures to the dragon in the warp core, because apparently it likes Krev, and this is my ship, so I've offered it some replicated goats.
We're doing sacrifices to the
Well, no,
to the
it's
engine
not a
now?
sacrifice. I'm just trying to get an idea what it likes, so
Right.
maybe I can offer it some like treats.
I like that. So what's interesting is that the warp core dragon is really not really communicating very much. It's more of just coloring different tonal pulses, etc. But it's not really reacting, and it doesn't really react to anyone other than, you guessed it, a certain Lieutenant Commander Karev. A certain Lieutenant Commander Karev. But as we zoom back into this bridge and we see, some of the command crew and several other lower officers, not lesser, but lower officers, there is a beeping that comes from one Minerva's console. She is currently sitting at the communications console, and there's a sort of concerned look that crosses her face, and she says, "Sir, I'm picking up a signal. It appears to be Federation, but I don't recognize the. Sir, may I send these readings to your console?"
Please. Also, tactical, red alert, and raise the cloak and take us to silent running.
Aye, sir. Miss Navik raises the cloak, and you also go to silent running. You said red alert, is that correct?
Yeah.
Excellent. You go straight to red alert. The sounds of red alert are heard across the ship, as it were. There you go. Nice little red alert sound. Beautiful. All right. # immersion. But as Miss Minerva, Ensign Minerva, sends this readings over to you, what you're seeing, I'm going to have you actually roll a check to try and really understand the information that you're receiving here. It seems, well, it's like you're seeing the outline, the sensor readings of a Federation vessel, but at one point it looks like it's fresh out of dry dock. At another point, it looks like it's, strangely enough, a rusted hunk just floating in space, like a space Hulk, if this were the 40K universe. And it is appearing to, as you read these readings, you look away for a moment, it's different. You blink, it's different. And it's doing this kind of weird cycle. It goes forward, it goes back. It's solid, it's not solid, it's rusted, it's pieces, it's not. It is like you are seeing this thing just again and again and again. So I'm going to have you roll a Reason and Science difficulty of 2 to try and figure out what you are seeing.
I know. Astronavigation? Not really.
Not really, no. I wouldn't say it. I would say if you have spatial phenomenon, if you had even starship recognition, I would allow. Absolutely.
I have experimental technology.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
You know what? Yes. Why not? You're one of the nice ones before we started the game. So yes. Yes, exactly. 100%.
I'm actually going to give you, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you a threat to let me roll a third dice.
Please do. I will eat that
Because
threat.
Reason and Science is not my strong suit.
All right. Oh, luckily you spent that threat. Very, very nicely done. Very nicely done. So, though you mentioned it is not your strong suit, Captain, as you lean into and you start to analyze this data, you've been dealing with a number of temporal anomalies. I mean, you're literally lost in time and space presently. The displacement that was around the Chronos station itself, the different ships that you saw on the first black hole that you ran into, that first singularity at the beginning of season 1. You've seen so much that you're like, I recognize what this is. You are watching and viewing the sensor readings. It's distant. It's actually coming from near and around the last known location of Chronos Station. You are picking up the readings of a Federation vessel that is caught in a kind of time loop. So to describe it to you, what you are seeing is a ship that is existing, and you're picking up its readings. They are somewhat scattered, but you are watching this ship exist as the atoms that were formed at the Big Bang, the beginning of the universe, and you are also watching this ship exist during the heat death of the universe. The eventual inevitable heat death of the universe. You are seeing it exist in all points of time. So like if you hit warp 10, you technically exist at all points in the universe at any given moment. This ship exists where it is at all points in time of all time. So it is strange, but with that check, you are able to pick up a reading of what the name of the ship is, its designation. You are picking up the designation, the USS Boudica.
Huh. Bridge to engineering.
Grab here. What's up, Cap?
I've got some strange readings I'm going to shoot down to you in engineering. I think I'm looking at a Starfleet vessel, but I can't narrow down why it's. I want you to take a look and see if you've got any theories as to why it's doing what it's doing. And trust me, you're going to want to look at these readings rather than have me explain it. And I'll send it down.
Perfect.
Got nothing better to do.
Excellent.
Moran?
Yes, sir.
Take a look. I'm shooting these over to your console too. I want you to take a look.
Aye.
And of course,
Luna, stop being a kid.
Ajay. I turn my console so that Shahira can see.
Absolutely. So Moran starts doing some research into what is going on. And brilliant. And I'd like to actually pivot down to, while you're all looking, I want to bring Karev into this conversation. So you're down in engineering next to the blue, purple, glowing, swirling dragon warp core, as it were, the dragon engine. And you've got, Bronson, who's kind of become a sort of like your right-hand gal, as it were.
Mhm.
She helps out
My
with
gal Friday.
everything. Exactly. And candidly speaking, even over the last, several months, year or so, as, really just the amount of time you guys have been traveling together here, she has really excelled. And what is really standing out to you, Lieutenant Commander Kraft, about Bronson specifically, is that she is starting to do things the way you do. She's almost starting to get a little sassy, a little bit edgy with some of the other folks that don't do it right. But just let me do it. You're doing it wrong. Like, she's starting to really mirror your behavior, and she's good at it. Like,
One of my values is actually mentor, and
beautiful.
yeah,
It's beautiful, and it's working. Yeah.
He likes to find promising young engineers like
Mhm.
the captain and take them under his wing, teach him how to be a good chief engineer, and then move on.
And it's gonna be time. It's gonna be some time before she's ready. But you've done this for so long, over so many different ships, with so many different promising officers, captain included, that she's gonna be great. She's gonna be great, and it's a good feeling. And Bronson actually leans over. Lieutenant Commander Kriff, those readings just came in, putting up the main view screen for you here. And there's like a main monitor screen in front of the warp core that a little bit bigger than your standard console. And thank you, Steve, for the sub. Appreciate you, man. There's a little bit bigger, and you're seeing the readings that I've just described to the captain. Is there anything additional that you'd like to try and look into, understand, anything else?
Yeah, I will, like he asked, try and figure out, what's so weird about it.
So right off the rip, you see that, again, these readings are showing a constant state of shift of this vessel. It is existing, again, as I mentioned, at all points in time from the beginning to the end. You see it as its initial atoms that existed, a millennia ago, and then you see it as basically nothing, non-existent, as it were. But as you start to look into it, I want to ask again, is there anything specific you'd like to understand, or would you just like to make a check, and then I can potentially provide you with some additional information? He is being such a kitty.
I'm going to, first thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to use my talent of quick survey.
Okay.
you have a way of getting a good impression of a situation with only a moment's observation.
Mhm.
At the start of a scene, you may immediately ask one question as if you had spent one momentum on the obtain information momentum spend.
Beautiful.
The answer can only provide information that you could obtain with your own senses. You cannot gain information from equipment in so short a time.
Beautiful.
So I guess, is there anything that I could learn just by watching what it's doing? Like,
You know
is
what?
there...
Yes. So I think what you could discern from these readings, although they are in a constant state of flux, is that there is a moment where you see it as it would exist in your own timeline. It is a steam runner class vessel. It is a steam runner class vessel. So you recognize the name of the vessel, the USS Boudica. You also recognize that it is a steam runner class ship. And you know what? I'll actually give you a little bit of additional information. Based on these readings, you're also picking up a large object that you can only assume is probably Chronos Station. And it would appear that this ship and Chronos Station are existing in the same area, the same zone, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to attempt to find any kind of like technical explanation for what could be causing this.
Sure.
Using the sensors and the computer.
So this is going to be a control science normally, but I'm going to let you use reason engineering, all right? Because you're also one of my friends that wasn't mean to me earlier today. So, you know, you're nice to your GM's nice to you. So there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Would my my focus of improvisation...
Absolutely. And not because you're my friend, but especially because you're my friend.
And then I'm also going to use my talent of technical expertise. Whenever I attempt a task assisted by computers or sensors, I can re-roll a d20.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's have someone roll the ship's computers, which will be control science, or excuse me, sensor science. Sensor science for the ship.
You don't want computers science?
Computer science, excuse me. That's what I meant. I was just checking you. Thank you, good friend, for correcting me.
My pleasure.
There it is.
There we go. Got you one.
Difficulty
Do we
in this
have
is
any...
a 3, by the way. Difficulty is a 3.
Do we have any momentum?
We do not.
Let's see.
Don't poke the bear too much, Wolf. That's funny.
2d20. I will give you a threat.
I will take that threat gladly.
For 3d20. And I have a focus.
Beautifully done. You gain 2 momentum, which is fantastic. What you discern is you start to actually look at some of the readings the Ragnar picked up during its time in and around and near to Chronos Station originally. You also look at some of the readings from the Numtha Legion attack vessels that were doing these kind of strange micro-warp jumps when they were swarming around, near and around you. And what you discern is that this Federation vessel, this USS Boudica, is trapped in a temporal flux. There is a kind of dome-like, we're going to call it a white, it's like a white dome, a white hole, white dome, white flux. There is some sort of temporal flux around this station that is causing it to exist at all points in time. And based on these readings, Lieutenant Commander Krev, you can only discern that this is a byproduct of whatever the hell you guys did back on Chronos Station. These readings are matching some of the readings you have for when there was a literal jungle aboard the vessel. These readings are matching some of the readings you picked up when you were inside and fixing the white hole that powers the station. The problem is that this energy, this temporal flux, this must be the way maybe the station moves through time and space. It kind of looks like almost like a drive signature of sorts. It is completely and utterly out of control. It is running rampant. It is jumping through time left, right, up, down, left, right, left, 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 up, A, B, A. It is all over the place. All over the place. And getting a fix on it, getting a fix on where it is, may be impossible.
Okay, I guess it's time to bring some nerds in on this one. All right, Krev will Krev to Treso.
Bridge here.
Cap. It's definitely a steam runner. It's traveling through time, constantly jumping, completely out of control with, I think, maybe Chronostation. I don't know, and it's probably our fault.
Important thing that I want to mention to you as well.
Yeah.
Its signature matches the atomic structure of your timeline. So
And
it's
it's-
from your timeline specifically. I
It's-
meant to say
okay,
that. Forgive me.
sorry.
Good.
Yep.
It's probably from our timeline, and its problems are probably our fault.
Krev, I'm glad we're seeing the same thing. I want to run a theory by you. What if we ran a pulse of a focused multivariant photon particle regulator out there, try and anchor that Starfleet vessel, pair that with a tractor beam and try and pull it out of that phenomenon? What do you think?
I can definitely do it. It should work.
One of two things would happen, Lieutenant Commander Krev.
Yeah.
One of two things would happen. You would either pull it into your timeline, or it would pull you into its timeline. Conversely, one third thing, which is very unlikely and probably won't happen as the GM stares at his threat, it could also destroy everything. So that's the thing. I don't know. It's possible.
Okay.
But I'd like you all to just sit with that information for a few moments. I'd like you to sit with that information because I think this is a great moment to, as I always say, pivot away from that scene and back over to a certain shuttlecraft, a certain Lieutenant Paris, who, if only he was aboard the Ragnar right now, he'd know exactly what to do. But by some twist of fate, he is not. He is on a super secret away mission with his best friend, and their red shirt, I guess we can call it, their red shirt. But we pivot back over to the ship, and we pick up with Captain Zed. Captain Zed speaking once again to the crew aboard the shuttle. You will identify yourselves immediately, or you'll be fired upon.
While on mute, I turn over to Zed and like, okay, Zed, prepare a reverse warp bubble on the torpedo so that we can disrupt their bubble when we try to jump. Right?
Understood.
Gentlemen, as the tactical officer, I will tell you that we are capable of withstanding several volleys from their ship, as it is somewhat obsolete compared to our own.
Thank you for
I
the
believe we should
reminder. This is
identify
not-
us. I believe we should identify ourselves, but we should say that we are on a secret mission from the Federation Dominion Command.
This is your final warning.
That's something I
Identify
would believe.
yourselves or prepare to be fired upon.
As I modulate the audio, reactivate the voice. So say again right now. This is Lieutenant Paris of the Crockett. Say again.
You will lower your shields, turn off your engines, and prepare to be boarded. This is your final warning.
And while he's saying that, I am trying to use the connection to download information from their banks.
How sneaky. I love it. Ooh, piggybacking
information.
off of the comm signal to download data from their computer. Intriguing. Intriguing.
It's
All
not
right.
like, it's part of my character to do these stupid things.
Intriguing. This is going to be a control and security.
So I'm gonna counter with daring security because Lieutenant Paris does not do it the normal way.
I'll
He
allow
does
it.
his
I'll allow it.
way because
I'll allow it. We're gonna go daring
Um,
security. We'll go daring security. Difficulty on this though, it's gonna be a 3.
Are the Ragnar's shields up?
They are not.
Okay.
Can Zed assist Paris with this?
Absolutely.
so we have so of course, security systems and bypasses as a focus
Mhm.
is totally going to be, the thing, right? Right. Daring. Security.
Now, before you
Um,
make that check, Lieutenant Paris, before you make that
Mhm.
check,
I'm not there yet.
before you make that check, I am going to spend 1, 2 threat to increase your complication range to a 17 to 20.
So I'm gonna use a determination because I create my own path.
Mm-mm.
That's my value.
All right, all right, all right.
And using technical expertise, I can reroll a failure.
Mm,
Or
right.
1 dice.
All right, all right, all right. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
So that is also 1 momentum to get an extra dice.
Done.
Right. So that is 3d20. And determination gave me 2 successes, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
All right, all right, all right. Let's check that last one. No complications. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
and
Zed, are you also helping?
Yes, and so would that be
Daring security as well.
Daring security?
Indeed, indeed.
And I have shipboard tactical systems and computers. Do we either one of those?
Yes, those
Help?
would both help. Yes.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Oh,
Ooh. Ooh, and no complications from you either, which is good, which is good. So, good news is you succeed and you get 1 momentum back. You begin to download. You start to piggyback off of the connection, the comm connection. You are just kind of filibustering the conversation, pretending that there is some sort of communications error. You hear this Captain Zed. You see him on the screen. Zed, his ears getting more and more red. He's starting to look more and more frustrated. And from next to him, you see... Well, he looks familiar, but he's got a beard. He's got a beard. His hair is a little bit longer. Looks a little bit more, I suppose, like Thor-ish looking. And it takes you a moment. But you recognize none other than Paris with a beard and longer hair. And he says, "Captain, did this other ship say Paris?" And he looks over, and Zed looks to his first officer. Says, "Commander Paris, are you aware of any of your family aboard this class of ship, whatever it is?" The first officer, Paris, says, "I am not, sir. I believe we may be dealing with enemies of the state." Zed leans over. You will lower your shields, turn off your engines, and prepare to be boarded."
So as he says, enemies of the state, I turn to my Zed. I said, "All right, time for some more improvisation, Zed."
Can you
Without
tell him that you said Smaris? That you meant Lieutenant Smaris?
And here's where things are going to get a little dicey. Here's where things are going to get a little bit dicey for you. Here's where things are going to be a little dicey. As you are saying Ensign Laris, or Ferris, or Ferris, Harrison Federation Klingon. I don't know. That's who I am. Barris with a B. You watch as a beam of light. The comms are cut, and you see the view screen. A beam of light that you recognize as a tractor beam begins to extend from the Ragna. But I'm going to give you all a chance to react to this. You've been pretty prepared for what's going on. What would you guys like to do before the tractor beam hits you?
Having prepared for this, sees the tractor beam arc out, immediately lowers the shield and initiates transport.
And where are you transporting?
To the engineering, to one of the rooms in engineering on the Ragna that are typically unoccupied.
Oh my god, you're beaming aboard the Ragna?
Yeah, we're going to beam into like their computer core.
Yes!
But I'm also, because I'm a tactical officer, I'm also going to initiate 3 other transports so that it's not clear where we transport it to.
Oh my gods. I love where your mind's at. I love where your mind's at.
Are you transporting all of us?
Yeah, we're all going to the same place. But I'm initiating 4 total transports. 1 to each nacelle, 1 to the computer core, which is the one we actually are in, and then 1 where I've transported what looks like a bomb, but it's really just a recently replicated children's toy into the officer's mess.
Absolutely brilliant. So we watch as the kind of like bluish looking beam of light representing the 3 of them, it emanates. We hear and we cut to a scene of the Ragna's bridge, and he says, 3 transports, they're aboard our vessel. And you watch as Captain Zed says, red alert! Security teams to all decks, find them and bring them to me. Evil cackle laugh, as it were. You watch as Commander Paris looks over and says, I will see it done, best friend, and then runs towards the doorway as they go off. That is
BFFs.
Once we materialize,
Yeah.
Zed will turn and give a momentary blank look at Valles, and then he'll say, "Yes, Plan B, a heist."
God bless you all.
We should get immediately to the computer core,
That's-
download the information that we need, and then we can figure out.
It's already downloading. We just need to postpone them. I'm going to create sensor echoes where they won't be able to find us.
Excellent, gentlemen. I anticipate that the Ragna will follow standard Starfleet procedure and bring the Crockett aboard. So if we make our way to the main shuttle bay after we have accomplished the requisite information gathering, we should be able to reboard the Crockett and make our way back to our own ship.
All right, Mimi. Sidereal Day, I need your help. In your best engineering voice, I need you to command main engineering to lock down because intruders are aboard the ship. Take it away.
Main engineering, intruders aboard the ship. Lock down everything, and don't forget you have your phasers ready. We don't know what they look like.
You hear a certain chief medical officer, first officer, apparently in charge of engineering, behind one of the doors. You are in engineering. You're near the warp, actually. It's one of these open, side rooms that are oftentimes left empty because it's just, panels and whatnot. And you hear her shouting that they need to lock down main engineering. And you hear boots on the ground. You hear heavy footfalls. You hear people running around. And we cut to a scene of, engineering aboard the Ragna. And you guys are all off in a couple of side rooms, hidden away, secret. Your subterfuge, your echoes have worked brilliantly. And I'm curious, what would you all like to do?
Zed needs to find a replicator.
You know what? If you want to give me a momentum or a threat, you can create an advantage, and there's a replicator nearby.
You got it.
Which one?
One momentum.
Boom. Done.
Yes.
There you go.
I think it's technically 2 momentum to create an advantage.
So you literally took it is 2 momentum, forgive me. So I need 2 momentum. 2 momentum, forgive me.
Yep.
And what's funny is you also hear a certain commander, Karev, who is saying, "All right, everybody." Now, in your best voice, Lieutenant Commander Karev or Karev Commander Karev, I need you to be telling everyone to stay calm. It's all gonna be all right. We'll find the intruders. We're very capable. And just make sure that everyone's not stressing.
All right, guys, don't worry. We'll find these intruders. Everything will be fine. Just relax, but be vigilant.
Do you think
We've got
this?
this.
But what if it's dissonance, sir? You know how cruel they can be, and they're crazy. They've blown up other ships in the fleet. What if it's one of their suicide squads? I don't want to.
No. Deep breath. Remember, we're the Ragna. We're the best, gosh darn rootinest tootinest ship in the whole of Starfleet, the whole Dominion. We've got this, guys.
You're right. We're number one, and Captain Zed's the best, and
isn't he?
And Commander Paris, he's seen us through some terrible moments. Oh, geez. Oh, man, you're absolutely right. I don't know why I went straight to Morty, but that's the person you're talking to. So there it is. And so you hear Counselor Zed trying to keep the crew calm. But yes, Ensign Zed, you're able to find a replicator and take it away.
Zed is going to replicate a captain's uniform with pips, and he's going to quickly pull on the thing. He says, I watched my father and my brother impersonate station officers once aboard his ship, the Lucrative Venture. Let us hope that I can do the same. Are you ready, gentlemen? And he's going to take a deep breath, and then he's going to storm out into engineering with these two following.
Absolutely love that. I think that's a great moment to pivot back over to the Ragnar, as it were, because you guys are insane, and I love it. Didn't see it coming. Had to do some quick editing, but you know what? That's part of being a game master. You got to be able to lean in on the fly, which is brilliant. So we pivot back over to the bridge, excuse me, wrong screen, to the bridge of the Ragnar. And again, Lieutenant Commander Karev, you have just come up with this idea, or the captain has proposed this idea to you about using some sort of tractor beam to either pull them in, or they might also push them out to help regulate this temporal flux that they find themselves in. Whatever you did, really whatever Zed did with that crystal all the way back then, it is mucked everything up. So it is your goal to try and fix it. So I'm curious as to what the game plan is presently. Any other preparations you'd like to make? And I'm asking everyone that is aboard the Ragnar right now.
Krev would start out with checking the power systems, making sure everything was preloaded to dump every available amount of power into this proposed action, and then while he's doing it, he's going to be talking to the engine, to Jormungandr, telling him how well he's gonna do. We're gonna the exact same speech that he gave to the
exact same speech he gave to the ensign. Yes.
Yeah.
But to your
the counselor Krev
kiss.
gave over there.
Chef's
But he's
kiss.
like mumbling it under his breath to the dragon that lives inside of his engine.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Space dragon inside the engine. 'Cause that's the thing that happens. We're weird over on the Ragnar. I'll tell you that much. Star Trek Valhalla, everybody. It's a good time. So you're doing
and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Yeah, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. September is September. Don't forget to drop and subscribe and like and subscribe things. It's what it's called apparently. I just got an email from Twitch. They're like, it's September, and I'm like, is that a thing? It's my first one, I guess. Yes, like and subscribe.
Ugh.
Whoa. But what about those that are on the bridge? Captain, any other orders you have for the crew? First officer, any insight you have about this situation at hand?
Should be prepared to hail them as soon as we pull them through, Captain. Likely they've been experiencing several of the difficulties we did when we first encountered this phenomenon.
And they're unlikely to have power, so engineering station, be ready to extend our shields
Aye, sir.
to well,
With your permission, I would also like to ready a medical team.
I was going to
to
say you might
provide
find that you want
assistance.
to be in the sick bay.
Mhm.
You have my permission.
And if you'll excuse me, Captain,
As you
I
go to
will.
stand, Commander Ajay, you are struck with a sudden feeling. It's like a extreme, almost lightheadedness. And as you go to rise to your feet, you find yourself incapable of doing so, and you fall back into your chair. It is as though you had low blood sugar and just the rush of blood to the head. Your mind becomes filled with thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you know all at once are not your own. You hear a woman's voice. Almost there. Close to help. Almost there. At the same time, you begin to hear additional voices. They start to scream and shout in a myriad of languages. You hear Klingon, you hear Vulcan, you hear Romulan, you hear languages you've never heard before, and they are a chorus. It starts with 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and all of them begin to rise up as though it is a choir. And it started with one person, and they're all now singing, but instead of singing, they are screaming in your mind, "We must get to the center." In that cacophony of voices, you also hear a single voice. And it says, I don't know, Captain, I think it's a white bubble? Yeah, I'm going to call it a white bubble. And then, as you kind of come to, because your vision became blurred, you kind of blacked out for a moment. Captain, you've watched this happen. I would imagine there's maybe a slight concerned look on your face. Several of the other
Oh yeah.
bridge officers look over to Commander Ajay. Commander Ajay, I need you to give me a presence and medicine with a difficulty of 3 because of this sudden burst of emotions.
I'm gonna spend our last momentum to get 3.
Please.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Give me a fitness medicine. Forgive me. Actually, it's mental. We're gonna go presence. I'm gonna go with what I first said. I'm sorry. We're gonna go
Make
presence.
your mind up.
We're going presence. We're going presence. My bad.
He wants you to try to fitness medicine in.
Okay. I have no clue if I have an applicable focus though.
You tell me. Sell me on something. You're one of the ones I like.
Am I?
I don't know. Maybe. Who knows anymore?
He's lost track.
Yeah.
I can't.
Okay,
I don't know.
whatever.
Anyways.
Psychology.
Yeah, why not? I'll allow it. Wow, that's good. I have good
That's
news.
lucky.
I have good news. You managed to retain your faculties. The bad news is that even despite the success of this check, you feel a small trickle of blood from your right nostril. You have a nosebleed.
Bridge to sick bay. Prepare to receive the doctor. I'm gonna need a full workup. Shahir, I'm sorry, but you're relieved of duty.
Captain, something about the center?
Head to sick bay. If you figure anything out, let me know.
Yes, my apologies.
Don't apologize. Just go to sick bay. Bridge engineering.
What's up, Cap?
Our first officer's just had an insight. She thinks there may be something about moving the ship closer to the center of the phenomena. Are you looking at this phenomena? Do you see anything? I'm not seeing anything that lends itself that way, but if she established some sort of connection with the officers on that ship, I don't want to throw it out the window.
How deadly do I think it would be for us to move any closer to it?
That'd be a
Oh, not
great
us.
question. That's a great question. If you were to move closer to it, so here's the thing: you are still 30 minutes away from, if you remember correctly, there was a kind of dome-like area of the Shackleton that was absent. The cloud itself was absent, so it existed kind of like in the eye of the storm, as it were.
Mhm.
You are about 30 minutes away from it. So it's close enough to where you can even cut through the Shackleton and you can scan ahead. So if you want to make some scans, if you'd like one of the officers on the bridge to use the ship's sensors to assist you with that, and maybe get an idea of what's going on, but your gut reaction is to go to the center. Last time you guys went to the center, things didn't go so well. Now, Zed isn't here this time, so maybe it'll go better. I don't know. But
Sorry, not us. What if we pushed the Boudica closer to the center?
interesting choice.
Yeah, that could work. It would hold on. Let me find some technobabble.
There is a button for it.
I know, I'm looking. It could help redirect the nadion flux of the anomaly, having their warp core closer to the center, which could allow us to pull them out a little easier. I think, Cap, we have the engines ready, and I think it's going to give us plenty of extra power.
Are we worried at all that pushing them towards the center might intensify their nanopositronic distortion?
It could, but I think disrupting the nadion flux would be more beneficial.
All right. Well, on a hunch provided by a vision that knocked out my first officer, let's go with that plan.
Not the weirdest thing we've done all week.
Fair.
And at the mention of not the weirdest thing we've done all week, from the tactical station behind you, Captain, you hear the ensign standing there say, "Sir, ship on sense." And that is all she gets out before you feel the entire Ragnar shake and jostle. Consoles begin to explode. You hear alarm bells from different stations, different sections of the ship start to go off. And being brought up on the main view screen, you see a Prometheus-class vessel in attack mode.
Jesus.
All three of them has just launched several torpedoes at you. And though not common to our sessions...
Aren't we in cloak?
Though not common, you are in cloak, which is interesting, isn't it?
Oh,
you are in
good.
cloak. But, as is not common in all of our sessions, we're actually going to take a quick 5 to 10 minute intermission, because I love a good cliffhanger mid-session, and also, I need to use the restroom. But with that being said, for those watching, stick around for part 2 of episode 2, season 2 of Star Trek Valhalla. We'll be back here shortly, my friends. All right, everybody. We are actually back a little early. All of us got to use the little boys and girls' rooms, as it were, and grab something to drink. I actually had a pickle, which is pretty good. We got these homemade pickles from the farmer's market, but I digress. All right, so we last left off. The Ragnar had just been attacked by a certain Prometheus vessel that they do recognize. Yes, it's the same one. And that's a thing. But we're actually going to open back up aboard the Ragnar with a Kenson, an Enton, Captain. I don't know. We've got a guy pretending to be a captain who maybe is actually also a captain. But we cut to a scene of Captain Ensign Captain Zed, with Lieutenant Paris and their other officer with them, who is, correct me if I'm wrong, that is Velez. Correct me if I'm wrong. Velez? Is it Velez? Ensign Velez bursting forth. And Commander Ajay, in your best surprised Chief Engineer Ajay voice, I need you to address your superior officer. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of guidance here. This is a Dominion Federation ship, and things are generally pretty much the same as standard Federation. Excuse me. That was a crazy. A bite a
Bless
little
you.
bit. I'm allergic to great storytelling, which is what we're doing. So I want you to give us your best. He's your commanding officer. You didn't expect him. And there's also a little less of friendliness in the Federation Dominion. It still is, but there's a little bit more of a distinction between command and everybody else. The captain, it's almost like Klingonish. Like there's a kind of almost a worship that goes towards your commanding officer, as it were. So give us your best. I didn't expect you, and also I kind of view you as a god.
Captain, as she straightens up, I regret to inform you we have not yet located the intruders, but engineering is secure, sir.
All of engineering stands at attention and salutes.
I want those intruders found, and I want them found now.
Yes, sir. You heard the captain. Make sure that
Find him.
and make sure you don't hit any of my engines.
Engines. Clang, clang. Oh, crap. Now, Ensign Zet.
Yes.
I'm not going to let you get away with this one. You're going to have to give me a presence and command. And Commander Ajay, you're going to set the difficulty. You can be as kind or as mean as you so choose.
I feel like if I'm too kind, you're gonna yell at me.
You could say difficulty 0. I don't even care. I leave it to you to make the right choice.
See, what you should do is make a reason security check, and however many successes you have, that's how many he needs.
Oh, that's
I
good.
love it.
That's a good call.
Reason security check. That is beautiful, Captain Treso. I love that. I love where our minds
that way
are
we
at
let
here.
the
the dice
tell the
decide.
story.
Yes, the dice have a story to tell. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
I love that.
just so you're warned, I do consider that myself to have an applicable focus in spotting liars because psychology.
I love
Although
it.
this is an alternative, Ajay, so I'm not sure she would.
That's your choice. Oh!
Wow!
Complication! Complication! That is hilarious. And I'm
I
going to
guess that
tell you
means-
why. I'm going to pocket that as momentum for you guys.
What?
You guys get 1 momentum.
Okay.
You get 1 momentum for that, yeah. And then Ensign Zed, your difficulty on this check is a 1.
One.
Oh, yes. So we're gonna do presence plus command.
Uh-huh.
I don't have any applicable focuses, I think.
That makes sense.
So let's see what happens.
Oh!
Hey!
Yes! Commander, Chief Engineer Ajay, you believe him. Ensign Zed, you see everyone scurrying around, looking under panels into just behind consoles. Like it's a little silly almost. All right. They're They're like wannabe mirror universe versions of you, is the impression you're getting. They're not actually like bad people, probably. But
Well,
what do you do from there?
Zed turns to Paris, and unless you want to say something,
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
He
gonna see
turns
this done.
to Paris and Valessi says, Lieutenant Tubbs and Lieutenant Valak, you're with me. And he's gonna
Yes, Captain.
march out of engineering into the hallway.
So marching out of engineering into the hallway, and we're actually going to kind of pivot over to the known space sheet. We're just going to use a little bit of theater of the mind because you caught me off guard. I'm going to be honest with you, and that's okay. Sometimes we got to do a little theater of the mind. It is a role-playing game. That's part of what it is. But Ensign Zed, Lieutenant Tubbs, excuse me, Lieutenant Tubbs, and Ensign Caress. I don't know the other two. The other two. You guys are now in the hallway just outside of engineering. Where do you head to?
So Zed turns around and says, where do we head to?
We need an auxiliary control. If this is the same thing, we need to go up two levels.
Oh, and I missed what you said, the first part.
Sorry.
What control?
We need to go to an auxiliary control. And if this is the same layout, we need to go up 2 levels.
Agreed.
2 decks.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I love
Let's
it.
go.
Let's go. So as all of you begin to... Oh, no, go ahead, Zed. Excuse me, I didn't interrupt.
Oh, no, I just say Zed's going to start marching down the hall.
Looking very serious and very...
Trying.
He's doing a pretty good job. You know, folks move out of your way. They salute as you pass by. They're moving around, etc. And you go up 1 level. You're in the turbo lift. You go up to the 2nd level. And you're getting very close. You guys are moving down the hallway. And you actually haven't really run into too many folks. Everyone really just gives you a pretty wide berth as you're marching around. But as you round the corner, and I just want to throw it out there that I got a lot of threat. And I don't use it as often as I probably should. I'm going to spend 2 threat. And
this seems like a threatening situation.
As you round the corner, you see a blonde-haired, a little bit longer, kind of Thor-looking gentleman with 2 security officers on his heels walking down the hallway towards you. So imagine if you were heading towards the central hallway of this particular deck. And they round the corner on the port. You round the corner on the starboard. There's a good distance between you all. You can just barely see them. They can just barely see you. And there's that kind of Spider-Man moment where they're like, wait a minute. They point at you. You kind of point at them kind of thing. And there is a freeze, a pause. I want to give you guys a chance to react. What do you do?
I give a nudge to
Zed. Yeah, Zed will get nudged and he'll take a breath and then he keeps walking straight towards him.
So as you start...
as we walk past a door, Vles glances over and notices that they're passing right by one of the primary computer cores and just opens the door and pulls the 2 of them into it and then closes the door behind them.
I love that. And as you start marching down the hallway, you feel this pull on your shoulder and the 3 of you zip into this main computer core. And it buys you some time, probably. So you guys are sitting inside this main computer core.
First thing I do is override the door lock so that no one can enter or exit for now.
Gentlemen,
am fine with that.
You will want to access the main computer core through that door there. I will cover this door with my hand phaser. Be quick. I will try to arrange an emergency transport to the shuttle bay.
Thank you.
All right. So a couple things are going to happen here. Seconds later, there is a doot. Someone's trying to open the door. And then there is a knock. Captain. Actually, Lieutenant Paris. And your best, Lieutenant Paris is now Commander Paris, also has a beard, and is kind of like a little Chachi. He's a little Chachi, all right? He's a little full of himself, all right? He's got a little bit of that big dick energy. I want you to question why the captain is on this deck and what's going on.
Captain? What? Captain, did you... Zed, are you in there? Why are you? You told me to. I said I would do this.
My apologies,
question-
Commander. The captain has been summoned for a priority briefing in the primary computer bay. You were not made aware because the intruders are still at loose, and that information was classified.
All right. Ensign, because I like your idea. Ensign Velez, you're going to give us a
Lieutenant,
presence
Lieutenant.
security.
I'm a lieutenant, JG.
Lieutenant Velez. You're going to give us a presence security, and whatever your successes are is the difficulty for Commander Paris to recognize that you're lying or not. And you know what? I'm going to spend a threat to make you roll 3 dice.
I do
Wait,
not have
who
an
rolls-
available focus. I have hand phasers, force fields, and bulkheads, and ornithology. So none of
Captain
those are
Trey,
gonna apply.
so Lieutenant Velez is rolling 3 dice.
There
2.
you go.
A difficulty of 2. Commander Paris, I'm gonna spend no threat because I'm not a dick, and I like you. I was just being silly earlier, and you're gonna roll us a reason and security difficulty of 2.
Wouldn't it be more insight? Maybe
Reason. We're gonna go reason. Yeah.
reason, security.
Look at him trying to use his better stat. I don't want to do your tricks. This is such a heist. I'm having so much fun. Oh my god. You guys are crazy. Oh! Ooh! Great news, everyone. You all gain an additional momentum. You gain an additional momentum in the situation. Commander Paris, this is a common occurrence. The captain being though he is a good friend of yours, being as high up in the Federation Dominion, oftentimes he has secret communiques with the command of the Defederation. Defederation. And he has... This is not an uncommon occurrence. You know, he keeps you in the loop, and sometimes that loop means... Sometimes that loop is not a loop that you're in, but he keeps you in the loop as much as he can, so not uncommon. So
Very well, Lieutenant. No need to inform the captain of the questioning. Please disregard.
and we hear,
As I'm sure you're aware, Commander, I will have to inform him, but I will try to be as gentle as possible.
absolutely brilliant.
Shitting his pants, probably.
He's shitting his pants. He's like, no, I betrayed my best friend. Oh god. So you guys are now inside of this commuter terminal. You're starting the process of gaining access, and so just kind of fill me in. How would you like to do this, and what specifically are you doing?
So
is the
first
download
thing-
still going to the shuttle?
The download is complete, and it doesn't look like they realized there was a download. The download
So
was
now-
100%
So
complete.
now all we have to do is
Get to the shuttle, which
get
is
to the
indeed
shuttle.
in the shuttle bay.
I guess
Which we're on the right deck for.
You are on the right deck for.
So
Oh no,
the
we need
first
to get up to
thing-
deck 10. The main shuttle bay is on deck 10.
Oh,
We're
you're
on
right.
deck
You're right.
11.
No, excuse me. Yes, you're absolutely right.
But the computer core, we could just take the ladder up till deck 10. We don't have to take a turbo lift.
Mhm.
So
Perhaps we should disable the tractor beam before we do so.
we will do a bunch of good things. Do not worry, Zed. First,
We got to get our
is-
Millennium Falcon off of this Death Star.
First thing is covering our traces. So Paris is gonna erase any access to replicator, to this door, to this unit, and make sure that future accesses within a specific code use will be not registered, just in case.
You know what, Paris? You've done such a damn good job of preparing yourself. I'm just gonna give this one to you. All of those things happen. That you've done such a good job, man. I have thrown thread at you. I've burned through a lot of it, and you all have just come out with flying colors, and I cannot argue with such brilliant maneuvering. So all of those things take place. You actually
Second
are
thing-
even able to disable the tractor beam from where you're at.
Actually, what I'm going to do is even bigger than that.
Oh well, then maybe you don't have to make a
So-
check. You know.
That it will require a check probably,
All right.
but this time It is something he's used to doing. It's, you know, that first episode where he used the lighting system to overload a certain command core. Well, he's going to do that, but to every command core on the ship.
Oh my god, you're a monster. You're an absolute monster. All right. So here's where we're at. You're going to do that. You're going to do that. So are you trying to do this through the computers, like just like overload their computing so that they
So-
just explode? Or are you trying to do more of like an engineering check where you're sending extra
So this
power
is-
to these?
So this is an engineering check
Okay.
where it's going to cascade overload from different points around the ship using the electrical lighting
Mhm.
system, which
Okay.
is badly designed on this ship, apparently.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on one point and containing it, he's like, no, this is every core on the ship. It's going to slowly but surely cause as much chaos as possible.
All right. Well, here's where we're at. Here's where we're at. Here's where we're at. I'm going to have you do a control engineering.
Mhm.
Difficulty for this, because you've done it before, I would say is probably just like a 2. However, and this is going to be something that the crew of the Ragnar is going to be happy about, I'm going to spend the majority of the rest of my threat, which means I will have no threat to mess with them. And maybe that's the way you guys get to me, is by separating yourselves. So I have 2 different crews basically to mess with. Your difficulty is going to be a whopping 4. And the reason behind this, the explanation for this, is that although it is a almost exact duplicate, there are a bunch of Dominion power cores, Dominion technical specifications, and different pieces of technology that have been kind of meshed with the Federation ship. So it's just a little bit different, and it's a little bit more complicated than you would have expected. Now, it would have been a 5, but it went from a 3 to a 2, and now I'm going to make it a 4. With a complication range of 19 to 20.
While he's doing that, Valles is going to try and set up a cascading failure from the Deck 11-12 emergency life support so that it cascades to the rest of life support. It should be easily fixed, and there's lots of air on the ship, but they'll have to fix it immediately. Otherwise, life support will be down.
Hey, you know this crew of this other ship that's basically us? Let's just murder them.
Yeah, but they're like an alternate timeline people. So, like, when we fix the timeline, they'll see
Remember,
through-
everyone, the Federation's the good guys. Just remember.
These are not the Federation that I know.
All right.
So
Besides which, I said
But-
it's easy to fix. It's just they have to fix it.
Which will be super easy to fix after Lieutenant Paris blows up all of their command cores, right?
all
Well,
it
yeah, but he
means-
didn't tell me he was doing that.
I
no,
think this
all-
is funny and also terrible. But, you know, Schadenfreude. Continue.
All it means is that poor chief engineer is going to have a lot of work to get commands working, but they have shuttles. They have like,
Commander Ajay, Chief Engineer Ajay, is going to have a lot of work cut out for her.
oh yeah, she is very much going to be pissed, but it's going to be really funny.
Mm.
You know what? Actually, can I change what Valles is going to do? Valles is going to access the holographic emitters on every deck and project intruders, just like a drill. So there'll just be like intruders, so that the ship is busy while
like
all
that.
the power shuts down.
I like that. I'll allow that. You can give me 2 momentum if you want to just make that happen.
Cool. Done and done.
Perfect.
So that means I get to use a lot of threat for you, Captain.
By design.
And would Paris like Zed's help with
Oh, for sure.
doing that?
For sure.
I have a focus on computers, so
Yeah,
I'll allow
I'm
it.
using I'm using my security system bypasses to create this. So, you know,
right.
anything works for, as long as it's computer. Technical expertise, of course, for my reroll. Yeah, so that would be 3 threat to get my 2 extra dice.
You're damn right. Thank you for that threat. I'll need it for blowing up the Ragnar.
Um,
Real shame. I mean, you could have just taken the Ragnar, and that would have been fine. But now you're gonna have no ships.
No ships.
and yeah, it's
Oh
Ooh.
no.
Oh no.
I get to reroll 1.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Hearing.
What's our difficulty?
4.
Zed was helping too, wasn't he?
Yes, he
yeah.
was.
Yep.
So,
Oh no.
Oh no.
so this is control engineering.
Yeah. Good news. No complications though.
Yep. Up to now.
All right, let's see what Zed does. Oh,
And that is a complication. That is a
Oh, boy.
complication. So everything's been going super swimmingly for you all. In fact, too swimmingly, maybe even. As you begin to type in what you know Lieutenant Paris should create a cascade failure, the room itself begins to grow colder. You start to look around, and the panels begin to grow this kind of bluish-looking frost on them. Your breath, as you're breathing, you start to see it condense in front of you. And a voice from close to the door, but not quite inside of the room. Did you ever have a run-in with a certain Commander DeBob?
That's what the voice asks?
No, that is what the voice sounds like.
Oh, yes.
Zed will recognize it.
And you would hear, silly little Federation. Not where they're supposed to be. Not where they're supposed to be. And the room starts to grow colder and colder and colder and colder. You all start to freeze. The panels start to flicker. And that's where we're going to leave you guys as we pivot back over. We pivot back over to the Ragnar that's just taken a full spread of photon torpedoes. The shields are down to 44%. There are damage reports coming in from multiple decks. The first officer is currently suffering from a massive headache. She is heading down to the medical bay. She's starting to get some... Chief Medical Officer, we have injured on decks 4, 6, and 9. What happened? Oh, gods. Oh, no. Oh, not like this. No, it's not that bad, but you know what I mean. It's just, it's pretty intense. But Captain, on the view screen, you see a Prometheus-class vessel, and you know that if you are not aware, but the Prometheus-class vessel has a special attack pattern that can separate itself into 3 different ships, and they can attack all at the same time. You see that it is currently in that attack pattern, but as the 3 ships kind of surround the Ragnar that has now been knocked out of warp, it's currently at impulse, stable, no real damage to the vessel. It's all relatively superficial. Got a couple blown out consoles and power conduits and relays and whatnot. But there is an incoming hail from the Prometheus.
On screen.
As the connection is established, you see a certain red-headed captain. A certain red-headed captain, but you don't see just one of her. You see roughly a dozen of her. One is sitting in the captain's chair of the Prometheus. Another is sitting in the first officer's chair. There's one sitting in a tactical station. There's one sitting at the other tactical station. One is at the helm. You are seeing 12 different variants of the same captain. Captain Treso, this doesn't have to end in bloodshed.
I wish I had time for your games, but there's a Starfleet vessel caught in a time...
You will not interrupt me. Where is my son?
I'll tell you what, we can talk about this later. Cancel communication. Maximum warp. Drop me a photon mine behind us. Disrupt their warp course.
And as the captain says, maximum warp, drop a photon mine behind us. Here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to leave this on a bit of a cliffhanger. Because there's a lot of shit going on. And I am sitting here going, this is too good of a cliffhanger to not do a cliffhanger. Right? I love it. I just love it. There's so much chaos going on right now. So what we are going to see, our final scene tonight, and then we will pick this back up next episode. In fact, I may actually separate this into 2 episodes, candidly speaking. I might separate this into just like a kind of like a back-to-back. So this is episode 2, and they'll be like, it's out of time. This might be out of time part 2, I think is what we're going to do here. Because you guys have gone completely off the rails. And the GM here is like, you're completely off the rails. It doesn't often happen to me, but like, I'm loving it. But I want to leave it hanging here because this is just too good. I can't resist it. But our last scene is going to be the Ragnar, its engines charging, a photon mine being ejected from the back torpedo tube, the 3 Prometheus-class vessels converging on the Ragnar. You can see that they are charging weapons, preparing to try and disable her. Back on the Ragnar, we see the 3 of we see Ensign Zed, we see Lieutenant Paris, and Lieutenant Velez huddled together, trying to stay warm, and appearing in a kind of shimmering, like, instead of that white blip, it's kind of more of like a black sort of like smoky cloud. We see the Blue and Dorian looking down at the 3 of them. I have a bargain for you, if you care to listen. And that, my friends, is where we'll end tonight's episode, because, hot damn, you're all insane. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So next week, we will pick up with part 2 so it'll be episode 3. This will be Out of Time part 2. It's going to be this episode, because I gotta be honest, not often in my experience as a game master recently, because I do this all the time, does a group go completely in a direction that I didn't anticipate. And not only did the crew of the Runabout go off the rails, the crew of the Ragnar went off the rails. And I'm just sitting here going, I'm not ready for this. I'm just not. I need starship combat. I need a snow scene. Like, I don't have it. So you know what? The game master is admitting that he's buying himself time. He's filibustering right now. I fully and completely admit. And also, to all of you, well done. Well done for throwing me off the rails here. I am so impressed. I thought I had it all figured out. And as Lieutenant Paris put it so brilliantly, as Sybil put it so brilliantly, the Mag Mel's the goody two shoes. You guys, F-A, F-O. F-A-F-O. And you know what? We're effing around, and we are finding out here shortly. But any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns from the crew of the Ragnar or the crew of the Ragna before we sign off today's episode?
What does Traso do on the Ragna?
That's a great question. We haven't gotten there, but we may soon. We will see him. I will let you know, Cap Traso. We will see him shortly. We'll probably see him next episode very, very, very quickly. And it's going to be a delight. So, but any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we sign off tonight and we pick back up next week for season 2, episode 3, Out of Time Part 2.
Lots of fun.
All right. And Lieutenant Paris, God bless you. You did great tonight. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, on my shoulder.
That's a kitty on your shoulder. And it's beautiful. But to all of you, as I always say at the end of every session, to the viewers, thank you for viewing. To the players, thank you for playing. And happy gaming, everybody. We'll catch you next week for God only knows what's going to happen. Could be a short season 2. We'll find out. We'll find out what's going to happen to the crew of the Boudica on Sunday, and potentially what the crew of the Ragnar will do to help them as well. So it's going to be a wild ride. But in the meantime, be well, be safe, and as I always say, happy gaming. Good night, everybody.